I'm Charlie Brooker and you're watching Newswipe, a programme all about what's been going on. Like this. Sound of smashing glass drowned out by sound of snapping cameras. World leaders pose for photo with Obama like they're on a f***ing log flume ride. And, well, yeah, there you go. Anyway, we start here. If all the world's a stage, then TV news anchors are the Greek chorus, tying proceedings together with their dramatic narrative skills and stern sense of authority. TV news is theatre, essentially. It's showbiz. Modern news anchors have a background in journalism, but that wasn't always the case. It wasn't really until the late 70s that seasoned reporters started to become the main face of the BBC bulletins, faces we still recognise today. Most of the first newsreaders on the BBC really were news readers, not journalists. All they were required to do was turn up and read the script as clearly as possible. Thing is, they didn't really need to be anything more than lucid diction fact-checking machines, because all they were doing essentially was queuing up short pieces of film. They never had to throw live to a reporter in the field or interview a politician on air. Consequently, many of the familiar newsroom faces had side jobs, such as warm-throated dapper chap about London town Richard Baker here, who, when he wasn't telling us about Lieutenant William Kelly, who'd been convicted of killing 22 civilians in My Lai in South Vietnam.
Lieutenant William Kelly, who was convicted of killing 22 civilians at My Lai in South Vietnam.
Doubled as the narrator for charming, genteel, cardboard kiddie-wink cartoon Mary Mungo and Midge.
There's Mary. There's Mungo. And there's Midge, who was convicted of killing 22 civilians at My Lai in South Vietnam.
The two modes were kept entirely separate. There was the stern, neutral android mode for when you were presenting the news, and the chummy village hall gang show mode for the odd variety special. And then sometime in the early 80s that all changed, round about breakfast time. The BBC's Breakfast Time was the first news show with a cosy and some might say eerie welcome to our lovely home feel about it.
I'll be back with more local news, travel and weather in half an hour's time. Look forward to seeing you round about then. Bye for now.
In today's multi-channel world with competing news networks, an anchor's personality matters more than ever. While there used to be celebrities outside of the news, now they're stars within it. Some are famous for being foxy, like foxy Natasha Kaplinsky here, or Welsh, like Hugh Edwards, or tactless, like Kay Burley, who's become famous for asking the questions no one wants asked, such as in a shocking interview with the ex-wife of the Suffolk Strangler, in which she wondered...
5 murders in 6 weeks. Do you think if he'd had a better sex life, he wouldn't have done this?
Male news presenters are only allowed to come in one of 2 flavours, either a terrifying Darth Vader harbinger of doom...
Britain must take care to avoid becoming like Nazi Germany in the 1930s.
...or a Hidely Hay Ned Flanders type.
Seems that romance falters in this face of sleep deprivation.
Sure, we know that on this programme.
Oh yeah, that's it, Turnbull. Chuckle it up, you gigglesome f***. Female newsreaders, meanwhile, are mainly required to be young and attractive, especially if they're presenting as part of a duo. Then it seems the pair of them should vaguely resemble an ambitious pouting intern and her well-groomed sugar daddy. Although sometimes they come across as somewhat dysfunctional couples.
More pictures coming in today showing even more dramatic lava flows coming from the ground.
Flowing from the ground, as Sun so helpfully pointed out, as opposed to somewhere else.
The weather. Here's Liam.
Hello.
Whenever I watch ITV Lunchtime News with Alistair Stewart and Katie Derham, I feel like I've been called into their office for some sort of bollocking.
Good afternoon, welcome to Thursday's Lunchtime News. From the centre of government to the social worker on the front line, there was a strong and clear message to everyone involved in protecting children in England. Get on with it.
What have I done? Still, the faces of British news may be stern, but at least they're sane. It's a different kettle of fish across the pond. We all know American news folk are better looking than ours. CBS News' Katie Couric's got so much MILF appeal, even the cameraman can't help zooming in for a closer look. They're also big characters, and with big characters comes big ego, and with big ego comes big squabble. Take this astonishing showdown between 2 elder newsmen.
So what do you want now?
Well, if I have to teach you how to be a reporter, Ollie, I'll do that later.
Oh, why don't you do that later, Jim? I think the lady expressed herself, and you're not here, you're there. Is there any question you'd like me to ask her?
No, I'll give you lessons on how to become a reporter later.
Well, I'll give you some lessons on how to be an editor, because I was your boss once.
Yeah, you were, and are no longer. How did that happen?
American cable news is where the biggest characters of all reside.
Take silverhead Captain Serious Keith Olbermann here, the portentous liberal showman of MSNBC. He's got an absurd sense of drama which made watching his show during the Bush era a bit like seeing a warm-hearted but angry suburban dad shout over the fence at the bloke next door who just happened to be president.
You're a fascist. Get them to print you a t-shirt with fascist on it.
Still, in terms of raw drama, the fair and balanced newsmen of dystopian future sci-fi satirical shouty porn sledgehammer channel Fox News win out every time.
Fox generally leans more to the right than a man who's just had his right leg blown off, and now Obama's in the White House, their commentators are getting to play the underdog at last.
If you believe this country is great, but nobody is fighting for you, let me tell you something. You don't need any guns for this revolution. You just need to stand up and find your voice. Come on, follow me.
Although it's a curious kind of underdoggery where they complain about liberal bias in the media one moment and then brag about their cable dominance the next. Now, to a dumb foreigner like me, all the Fox anchors look like characters in some 80s frat house comedy.
Oh, wait, dear.
For instance, Sean Hannity here would be cast as the uptight jock bully. Witness his cold ink-dot eyes, which could have been surgically transplanted from a particularly characterless dormouse, and his whiny, peevish demeanour.
We can't say enemy combatant. We can't say terrorist. We'll get to those things in a second. Now we're not going to use the term illegal immigrant?
The disapproving high school principal would have to be Bill O'Reilly, moralising about permissive society one minute.
The Woodstock generation thought it was cool to get stoned.
And chortling about lady bumps the next.
Their pitch is beach-friendly, if you know what I mean, and we believe they are patriots.
When there's no tits to dribble over, Bill kills time by boasting about his ratings.
Judging from our enormous ratings, I think we've been successful in doing that.
Or plugging his myriad books.
I do want to thank you all for keeping Bold fresh on the bestseller list for more than 6 months.
Or simply sitting there pulling a face like a tortoise that's learned to enjoy the stink of its own farts. But his primary characteristic is anger. Bill gets wound up by virtually anything to the left of Mussolini, hectoring and yowling like a wolf that's got his nuts caught on a coat hanger.
See, I'm more angry about it than you are.
So what about George Bush?
What about George Bush? You had nothing to do with it.
Although he's clearly not quite as furious as he used to be around 20 years ago when he was presenting a show called Inside Edition, which has become famous thanks to this notoriously unhinged outtake.
Now, I can't read it. There's no words on it. There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean? To play us out?
Sting is going to do, it's a video, Sting video.
What is...
For credits.
I don't know what that means, to play us out. What does that mean? To end the show?
Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
In 5,
He's gonna blow.
4,
He looks psychotic.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with a... I can't do it.
God, he needs a...
We'll do it live.
This guy needs a goddamn blowjob.
No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.
That was fantastic, Bill. Real professionalism, real comfortable viewing, really warm, really connecting with the viewer there.